This next story happened. I was going to Colorado. It was right after high school, and I went with a bunch of people that I ran around with, a couple of families, and there were 17 of us. Went up to Uncompahgre National Forest, southwest Colorado, and it was close to Lone Cone Mountain. Between Lone Cone and Norwood is where we were camping. We started home. There was a motor home, and I think we had my pickup, and anyway, there was a string of us, like 17, and the motorhome held plenty of people. Of course, we weren't going to stop, spend no money on a motel room. We drove straight through. I think it was around 22 to 24 hours home with that many people stopping and whatever. We stopped in Amarillo and to gas up each vehicle, and what they were doing is they would put somebody in the motorhome and let them sleep while it was driving, and then somebody else would drive that vehicle. A fella named Jimmy, his CB handle was Snake, and that was his nickname, Snake. And good fella, just salt of the earth. And anyway, he went to the restroom, and when everybody got ready to pull out, whatever vehicle Jimmy was in thought he was in the motorhome to sleep, and they didn't know. He walked out of that bathroom just as all the vehicles were leaving the gas station parking lot to get back on 287 to head toward the east, toward Longview. Well, he thought, how in the world am I going to do this? There was no cell phones back in the late 70s, but CB radios were very popular. Anyway, he looked, and there was a motorcycle there, and it was cold. You know, it was in late October, early November, rifle season. And he looked at that motorcycle, and he thought, I'm not going to get on that. And then there was a truck about to pull out. He ran up that truck driver. He says, are you going east? And he said, yeah. He said, well, my party just left me. I was in the bathroom, and they didn't know. And they just pulled out. There's a motor home, and it's pulling a Jeep, and there's several other vehicles in the string. Do you think you could get on the CB radio and holler for overtime? That was Jerry. Jerry worked a lot of overtime in the oil field. He was an oil field mechanic. And every time he got a chance, he'd be working overtime. So that was his CB handle, was overtime. And so he tried to raise him, but they had already got out of range. Well, they both got in that cab of that truck, and here they went. And the trucker was just driving as fast as he could. He finally caught up where he was in CB range, and Jerry listened to that CB radio, and he heard Snake to overtime. He thought, well, what's Jimmy want? Jimmy started explaining to him, y'all left me at the gas station. I'm in this big truck. Y'all need to pull over somewhere so I can get in with y'all. And so they found an exit, told him which exit they were at, and he went and got back in the truck. But man, what a mix-up. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the story about Jimmy getting left at the gas station in Amarillo. He's a great guy. The whole bunch was. These four guys that we went with, they had been friends since school, since high school. They played football together, had band together, things like that. Lifelong friends. Hope you enjoyed the story, and if you did, hit that like button. And if you hadn't subscribed yet, please do, so you won't miss another one of my stories. Have a great day.